Thank you, Yoma, and thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
We have something special coming up. This is an interview that was done by Jim King with Rosa Parks. Don't go away. Watch this one.
Welcome to Black History Month Update. I'm Jim King, and with us today for an exclusive interview is Rosa Parks, the mother of the Civil Rights Movement. Tell me, Mrs. Parks, about that event in Montgomery, Alabama, the event that our children are reading about in history books today.
Well, on December 1st, 1955, I had left my job in downtown Montgomery, Alabama, where I was employed as a tailor's assistant in a department store in Montgomery Fair. And when I went to board the bus, I saw that there was one vacant seat left. A man who was sitting next to the window, and I was took the one next to him, and there were two women across the aisle. This was just back of where we call the white section. And blacks, of course, were standing in the aisle very closely packed together. But there were a few vacant seats in the front, and I went from the stop where I boarded the bus to the next stop, and through that stop and on the next one after that, a few white people boarded the bus, and one white man was left standing, and the driver told us, he said, "Let me have those front seats." He referred to them as front seats. And at the very first time he spoke, didn't any of us move, but he said, "Y'all make it light on yourselves and let me have those seats." And as he spoke the second time, the man who was sitting with me stood up, and I moved and let him pass. The two women stood up and moved out into the aisle of the bus. And when he asked me if I was going to stand up, I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "If you don't stand up, I'm going to have you arrested." I told him, I said, "Well, you may do that." And he got off the bus and stayed a minute or two, a few minutes, I don't know exactly how long. And several people left the bus. Some, as he came back and stood in the front door of the step well, some people asked for transfers, and some just got off the bus without saying anything, so that took a little, I didn't see any white people leave the bus. The man, of course, the passenger, white man, never did speak or say anything one way or the other, so I don't know whether he finally took the seats or not. And when the two policemen came on the bus, and the driver pointed, they wanted to know what was the trouble, and he said that he needed the seats. And the other three stood, but that one, he just pointed at me. He didn't say what. That one won't get up. And then the two of them came down the aisle to where I was. And one of them asked me if the driver had wanted me to stand up. I said, yes, he did. And he said, well, why didn't you stand up? I told him I didn't think I should have to stand up.
Right.
And then I asked the driver, I said, why do you all push us around? And he said, I don't know, but the law is the law and you're under arrest. And so as soon as he told me I was under arrest, I stood up, and one picked up a little shopping bag I had, and one picked up my purse, and we left the bus together.
When you did that, Mrs. Parks, did you realize that that event would take on such significance and mean so much to this country?
No, I didn't have any idea how the community would react. I just knew that I, as an individual, felt that my rights as a human being were being violated, and that was the only way I had of protesting against it.
It has meant so much to so many people throughout the world now to have an event like that just start the civil rights movement and brought us alive as a people. That has to be a wonderful feeling.
Well, I was very glad that we did, as a people, unify ourselves on that purpose and didn't give up until it was over with. And of course, I was always very deeply appreciative of the fact that Dr. Martin Luther King had come into Montgomery, and he was the type of person who seemed to generate love and cooperation, and people just supported his leadership. And of course, he had the support of practically all of the community, both and some white people too. I won't say it was completely a black movement, because many whites did support and help in various ways. Some even gave contributions, and some of the young white college students would come to the meetings, and I know at least one who stayed with the movement after he was expelled from this white college in Montgomery. And there was some who drove in the, picked up passengers, drove in the carpool. So we, in spite of all of the hostilities with the White Citizen Council and other segregationists, did not give up until after the Supreme Court had declared segregation in public transportation was unconstitutional. So I'm grateful to be here, and grateful to know so many people have taken this incident and made a movement out of it.
I think it's wonderful.
Hope we'll move on to the future and still build on what we have done. And
tell me, Mrs. Parks, now that these things have happened, do you think maybe we've begun to rest on our laurels, or have we relaxed and a little bit and not moved forward like we should?
Well, I think we should remain as vocal and as clear as we possibly can, in a way that will impress people, and not only be vocal but also take the action that's necessary. Sometimes you can do a lot of speaking, but if your life is not geared to what you say, then of course people can find fault with what you're doing. I always admire Dr. Martin Luther King because he lived as he spoke. He believed in love and Christianity and brotherhood of all mankind, and he did not believe in violence. And I feel that we should just try to keep alive his dream and respect the fact that his birthday is now a national holiday. And we should just move on to the future with hope and courage and love and faith and just determination not to give up.
Those are the things I believe in too, is love and hope and faith and determination. And and I have it lives within me. And I am glad that my last name is King.
Well, that helps a lot too, I think.
I'd really like to thank Mrs. Rosa Parks for granting us this exclusive interview. It has been a historic day here in San Bernardino. It has for me, and I know it has been for you.
I am thunderstruck. How did that affect you?
Oh, it had such an amazing effect. Diane, the room was just so still. There was only Manzi Booker, myself, and Rosa Parks. It had a tremendous effect. Life, it will last forever.
You were a part of history.
Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you for being with us this week, and I'm going to sign off and to ask you to please be with us next week. Jim will be here, and this is Diane Abbott.
And I'm Jim King. Stay with Inland Empire Live.
Floral arrangements provided by Mullins Flowers, 496 West Island Avenue in San Bernardino. Furniture provided by Go Forth and Marty Office Supply, 234 North D.